Don't get carried away with the money you're getting. There is no place for you to go back to.
My husband shouted over the phone. Shortly after that, I received a message in a text. It was a picture of my belongings being dumped in a dumpster. How could they do this with impunity? Disgusted, I immediately went to retrieve my luggage. I began to collect my stuff. And there was one thing there that I was confused about. My name is Mia, and I'm a 42-year-old housewife. My husband Elijah and I have been married for over 15 years. We were originally co-workers in the same office. We started working together and talking over drinks, and we grew closer. After about a year of dating, he proposed to me. I liked him, and he was 3 years older than me and reliable. I thought, if I get married to this person, I will be able to live happily. With this in mind, I accepted his proposal, and so we got married. He told me the following before we got married.
I want you to quit your job and become a housewife.
I was only 26 years old at the time and could still work hard, but I was not obsessed with my job, so I quickly agreed. Okay, I will quit and support our family. Then, I left the company on marriage and became a full-time housewife. From then on, I worked hard at housework and put my energy into cleaning and cooking. I cooked hard every day and made meals to satisfy my husband for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Wow, I didn't expect you to work so hard on the housework. The house is squeaky clean and the food is delicious. Thank you so much.
I was very happy to hear my husband express his gratitude like that. My husband worked hard at his job and rose steadily in his career because he had asked me to be a housewife. We were able to live on my husband's salary alone without any problems. We enjoyed our time as a couple, going for drives and trips on our days off. I think we were very happy in our newlywed life like that. However, about 3 years after we got married, problems began to occur in our marriage. It all started with my mother-in-law, Isabella. Mia, when are you going to have a baby? You have been married for 3 years. You will be 30 soon, and it will be harder for you to have children. You need to have a sense of urgency. My mother-in-law yelled at me and put pressure on me like that. Of course, my husband and I are trying hard to have children, but it's not that simple. I told her so, but she didn't listen to me at all. You can't have a baby right away because you're taking your time like that. You should do fertility treatment or something like that. I won't allow you to not have a baby. My mother-in-law kept putting pressure on me like that. If she continued to pressure me like that, I would never be able to have children. However, my mother-in-law said more and more terrible words to me without thinking about my feelings. She was so abusive to me that I was in a lot of pain, so I asked my husband for advice. Hey, your mother's attitude toward me is terrible. She said a lot of things about my inability to have children. When I asked him about it, he replied,
Well, it's true that you can't have children, isn't it? It's no wonder my mom said so. It's your fault for not having children.
Wait, you're saying it's my fault?
It's true, isn't it? It's not my fault, of course.
How can you be so sure?
Because I'm the one who said so. Try harder, so you don't disappoint my mother anymore.
But I was very shocked to hear my husband talk to me like that. At one point, I even considered divorce, but I had already been out of work for several years, so I couldn't divorce him easily. Then, I got pregnant. At that time, my husband and mother-in-law praised me.
You did it!
About time! I wish you could have had her sooner. And I successfully gave birth to a child. It was a girl, and we named her Emma. I was very happy about the birth of my beautiful baby girl. But my mother-in-law said, "Why didn't you have a boy?" She complained. To my mother-in-law, having a child means having a boy who will be her heir. Therefore, my mother-in-law did not try to love my daughter at all. My husband, unlike my mother-in-law, did not seem to be obsessed with the idea of an heir, and he loved my daughter. So I never divorced him, and we have been living together until now as husband and wife, and as parents of our daughter. However, since we were basically connected only by the fact that we care for our daughter, we had terrible fights when we clashed. And at those times, my mother-in-law would always join my husband in blaming me. At the time, my daughter was small and I had no one on my side. Incidentally, my father-in-law was indifferent, or rather, he never tried to get involved with us in the first place. So, it didn't matter how much my mother-in-law picked on me, and even if she had been nice to me, he probably wouldn't have tried to get involved. He is the type of person who has no complaints as long as his daily meals are prepared. If my daughter speaks to him, he gives her a nod. But if she doesn't get involved, he doesn't try to get involved himself. It was harmless in both good and bad ways. That is why he was not someone I could rely on. So, while occasionally quarreling and confronting my husband and mother-in-law, I managed to do my best as a housewife to raise my daughter well. Now that my daughter is in her second year of junior high school, it is time to think about her future career. She has recently become interested in dance and wants to take dance lessons at the dance school. She became interested in dance when she saw her classmates dancing in a class at school. She was not involved in any club activities, so it was possible for her to go and learn after school. I asked my husband for advice. Emma wants to take dance lessons. I checked and there seems to be a good dance school in town. So can we enroll her? Since I must stay at home mom, this kind of thing requires confirmation from my husband. I thought it was just a confirmation, and that my husband would normally agree to it. But to my surprise, he started to object.
Of course, you can't do that.
What? Why not? This is the first time she has expressed her desire to do something on her own. It's only $50 a month for lessons.
No, it's a waste of money.
What? Why can't you support your daughter to try something?
She won't become a dancer if she takes lessons now. It's a waste of money.
You won't know until you try. Besides, I don't think it's only important to become a professional dancer. You can develop the ability to see people around you and cooperate with them through that kind of experience.
Shut up! No means no. If you insist so much, you work and pay for it. I won't pay for it out of my paycheck.
My husband said that to me with wide eyes. I was surprised and disgusted with my husband because I didn't expect him to get angry like that. He is worthless when he doesn't care about his daughter. That's what I thought. I immediately looked for a job after my husband said those things to me. Luckily, there was a job opening at a nearby supermarket, so I applied for it and was successfully hired. I started working part-time during the daytime on weekdays. Thanks to that, I was able to pay for my daughter's dance lessons. She started attending the class, and I was impressed by how hard she practiced every time. I thought, if she can do it with such passion, it was the right decision to let her learn. However, my daughter was not only doing her best because she loved dancing, but she also had another reason for doing so. She had apparently been listening in on our conversations and knew that the reason I was working was for her dance class. So she said that she was trying her best in her lessons so that she would not waste the money I earned from working. I was moved to realize that my daughter was growing up so well. Children mature before you know it. But on the other hand, my husband started to say childish things more and more, whether it is a degeneration or his nature.
Don't be so proud that you're only earning money part-time to pay for Emma's lessons. You and Emma eat with the money I earn. Don't forget to respect me.
That's how my husband is. In the past, he never used to be such a domineering husband. But lately, he has become increasingly hostile toward me because I do things that he doesn't approve of. I also feel that he cares less about our daughter than before. I wonder what kind of change of heart has occurred. To be honest, it bothers me when he gets involved with me in such a troublesome way. And when my husband attacks me, my mother-in-law also joins in and attacks me, which is troublesome. Yes, that's right. You guys are able to make a living because of Elijah. Without him, you would be homeless. If you continue with that cocky attitude, I will kick you out. My mother-in-law, who does not live with us, yells at me and my daughter like that. My daughter has grown to dislike her grandmother, who doesn't take care of her. And she has also grown to dislike her father because of his recent terrible attitude. I used to always talk back to my husband and my mother-in-law for my daughter's sake. But I think my husband's recent attitude is really terrible. He has never said such terrible things or been so arrogant before. I wonder why he has changed so much. Then one day, an incident happened. It was when my daughter was able to advance in a dance competition, and she passed the preliminary round and competed in the finals. The finals were in a rural area and started early in the morning. So my daughter and I planned to go there the day before and stay at a hotel. But when I told my husband about it, he again objected.
What about the housework while you're gone? What about my food?
Well, you're an adult, so you will have to prepare it appropriately. My husband's eyes widened in anger when I said this.
Don't be silly. I won't allow you to go to the convention if you're going to make me do that.
He got angry again as usual. So I didn't deal with him and took my daughter and left the house. Then, about a month after the convention, I received a phone call from my husband.
Are you prepared to skip housework like that?
What do you mean by prepared? I'm working for Emma as a mother. Why don't you understand that? Why don't you have the open-mindedness to think about someone other than yourself?
Don't get carried away with all the money you're getting. You have no place to go back to.
My husband shouted into the phone. Shortly after that, a picture was texted to my phone. What? What's this? It was a picture of my belongings being dumped in a dumpster. How could they do this with impunity? Dismayed, I immediately headed home to retrieve my belongings. But no matter how fast I drove, it would take several hours. So it was late at night when I arrived at the dumpster. There I found a large amount of my clothes, accessories, bags, and other things that had been thrown away. My daughter was absolutely mortified, as if she had never thought her father would do such a thing. At first, I collected mainly the things that I treasured. I would just get rid of the things I never wore. You are so strong, Mom! Surprised by my daughter, I sorted my belongings one after another into the garbage bags I had bought at the supermarket. Huh? What's this? As I was collecting my belongings, I noticed something strange. Wow, that's a beautiful necklace. My daughter looked at the necklace I had picked up and said that it's a luxury brand and quite expensive. What? Mom, you had such an amazing thing. No, it's not mine. What do you mean? I don't know either. Surely the design looks a bit young for something that belonged to you. You mean there was something in the house that wasn't yours or Grandma's? My daughter's question made me gasp. Could it be that my husband is having an affair? And this jewelry might belong to the adulterer? Somehow, I knew that I shouldn't take it home and it wouldn't be good to leave it as it was. I shoved it into the deepest part of the garbage bag for discarding it and threw the bag away in the back of the dumpster. If my husband was having an affair, and that was his affair partner's, he would surely come looking for it. He would have a very hard time finding it if it was in a hard-to-find situation like that. I finished collecting all my belongings and went home with my daughter. Then, my husband spoke to me looking a little flustered.
Did you go to the dumpster?
I did.
Then you're collecting what I threw away, aren't you?
What are you talking about when you throw them out yourself?
I'm asking if you collected it.
My husband became emotional and raised his voice. My daughter gave him a stern look and said, "You're the worst, Dad. How can you throw away Mom's things without permission? Who the hell do you think you are to act like that?"
Shut up! This isn't a conversation for children.
Hey, you can't yell at Emma.
She's being cocky.
You're just being crazy. You threw it away yourself, and now you're demanding me to answer your questions. Are you emotionally unstable?
Shut up! Just answer the question I'm asking you.
I did. It's in the car.
Let me see it.
With that, my husband opened the trunk of the car and began to search through the mess. My daughter and I were convinced that he was looking for that jewelry. We knew he was looking for that necklace. What are you looking for?
What? I think something important might have gotten mixed up in there.
Something important, huh? And what is that?
It's none of my business.
Saying that, he started rummaging around in the car.
Did you really retrieve everything?
I bought some garbage bags and threw away almost half of the stuff. I'm glad I got to declutter. My husband slumped down on the spot.
What the hell were you thinking?
Saying this, my husband glared at me and got angry. Who does he really think he is? What? You're the one who threw it all away. And if you leave something you didn't want thrown away, why should you be angry at me for it?
Shut up! Don't talk back to me!
My husband was so angry with me. Then my daughter said, "Mom, I got what looks like proof." My daughter approached us grinning. "Dad's phone. I opened it easily because his password was his own birthday."
Hey, what are you doing with that?
It's your fault for leaving it there. This confirms that you were communicating with a woman and that she left her jewelry at home. And you got a text to bring it back for your next date. This means you are having an affair, right?
Give it back!
My husband said and took the phone from my daughter. "Elijah, you can't get away with this anymore."
What the hell are you talking about? Emma must have seen something wrong.
My husband showed me his text. Apparently, in a split second, he had erased the message exchanged with the adulterer. He's really cunning, isn't he? Well, that is to say, he's admitting his infidelity. But in the contest of wits, my daughter was one step ahead of him. "Oh, I thought you would erase it, so I sent screenshots of the text to my phone." "I resent it to you, Mom." Saying that, my daughter sent me the screenshot of the text between my husband and the adulterer. In addition to the necklace mentioned earlier, there were also those in which they whispered words of love to each other, and those in which they promised dates and trips, all of which were evidence that they were having an affair for sure. "Thank you, Emma. This proves that this man is having an affair. Let's get a divorce." My daughter smiled and gave me a peace sign. She really is a reliable daughter. My husband seems to realize that he could no longer get away with it, and got down on his knee to me.
I'm sorry. I was wrong. So please don't give me a divorce. Alimony and child support are a lot to pay.
What are you talking about? Divorce is a matter of course. I held out the divorce papers I had prepared just in case. "Sign this, please. If you don't, I will take you to court." The word court must have scared him. My husband is very public-spirited, so he was afraid of a court case that would cause a fuss among people at work. Then, I received the divorce papers that my husband had signed. Then, my daughter and I packed up our necessary belongings for the time being, loaded them into the car, and left the house. Soon after, I rented an apartment and moved out. Then I consulted a lawyer and decided to file a claim for alimony against my ex-husband and the adulterous partner. Incidentally, I heard that the necklace of the affair partner that my ex-husband accidentally threw away together was extremely expensive. The adulterous partner was furious and demanded alimony. My husband was then dumped by her. What was even more surprising was that it was apparently my mother-in-law who introduced my ex-husband to the adulterer. She hoped that if she got him to remarry a young woman, this time he would give birth to a boy. However, as a result, my ex-husband was required to pay for the necklace and was saddled with a large amount of debt, including alimony and child support for the affair. My ex-husband seems to be yelling at my ex-mother-in-law that it's all her fault, and they have cut ties with each other. Not only was my former mother-in-law disowned by her own son, but also completely avoided by her neighbors, because they knew that she had done something to mediate the affair. My ex-mother-in-law became mentally ill and stopped doing housework, but my ex-father-in-law yelled at my ex-mother-in-law and pushed her father, saying that he would never forgive her for not cooking. However, my ex-mother-in-law could not cook properly and could only cook bad-tasting food, and my ex-father-in-law became ill. My ex-husband sends me long emails with these stories and asked me to get back together with him, but I don't reply to his emails and mark them as spam. I am spending happy days with my daughter and my parents, while earning money by working full-time at the supermarket job. I will continue to work hard while watching my daughter grow up.